because, I think that story comes from John O'Leary marrying Beth O'Leary, and the words spoken on the altar, November of 2003, I do. And by the time the honeymoon is over, the words begin to shift in my relationship, and I would imagine in many others, to I have to. You press one for Nick because I do. And then eventually it feels like, oh, I have to. You start the business because you want to. And then it begins, I have to. You stop drinking because you do. And then it becomes, I have all these things. So for me, part of it is this idea of surviving versus thriving. But the other piece is this, the reckoning that if we are not intentional in life, all of life becomes, I have to. And I wrote recently about a guy who I met just a couple of years ago named Pat Hinman. Pat Hinman was a phenomenal business executive that I met. He was leading forward a business. He was going through stage 4 cancer. He was still getting treated for it. He was extraordinarily wealthy. And he was 98 years old. It's a true story. He was going through the chemotherapy, though, he told me later on, not for himself. He had a good life. He had enough. But he wanted to guide his wife to the finish line. He said to me, John, I made a commitment to Bonnie 77 years ago that I will be that. I do. John, I still do. So that's why I'm going through the chemo. I don't like losing my hair. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I'm 98, but I still do. And so the beautiful part about this story is I heard 2.5 months after he and I met in San Diego that Pat Hinman went home. He passed away. And it was a 1.5 weeks after he buried his wife. He kept the commitment. I do. And he did it in a relationship. He did it in his health. He did it professionally. He did it financially. He did it in every aspect of his life. This was a man who did not survive. That bores me, man. I think an animal tries to survive. We are called to thrive. Take the talents you've received and multiply. Be like Pat Hinman.
Love that.